My name is Zero Cool Gamer, and I have a potential issue with some things here. If you notice the title, it's talking about an alliance issues or some issues with them, and I got this interesting guy online here. If you don't know who he is already, we have the Brit JPT because he is an actual alliance leader, and there are some issues that are arising with being an alliance leader. Not at the top level, somewhere around the middle where they were, how they were beforehand, now where they're at. So I will send it over to JPT and say, hey, what's it like being an alliance leader?
Well, so first of all, the alliance I run, and we've had it for the people. I would say that a huge chunk of the people in my alliance have stayed with each other for a good 4 or 5 years, and we've always been that type of alliance that when we need to get something done, we will get it done. Like for example, oh, when the raids were in that old scheme of 100% to get these rewards, move to the next difficulty, whatever. We always set those push days. Everyone would be like, get on doing it, great, like push it. So we've always been that type of alliance, but then when it comes to just the general daily, week after week, we've never been super serious, never been strict, and Discord pinging every like hour, get on and do your stuff, like free for raids or war, whatever. I've always been a case of let us know what's going on. If you can't play the game or play it much, cool. Like it's no big deal. We know in advance, so we know either not to tag people, to not push people, to not even waste resources, because of course around the time for like it was a while ago, but around the time when people had to save maybe heal cores or use cores for extra energy, whatever it was. So we did what we needed to do, and we always were in that top 1%, should we say? So we was getting the max rewards that we could get, but also still keeping that very casual approach. So yeah, we've always run it like that, and that's why I've always been able to keep the large majority in my alliance, because I've been happy with how things run. And the only reason really people have ever left is been because they quit the game. So we've never had really any dramas, no nothing. It was always like, we know how the game works, we can play the game, and that was it. Like, we treat it as a game, we didn't take over our lives. Yet like I said, we could mid-max everything basically. So we got the rewards we needed, we can push forward, kept up with the content, and didn't take it super serious.
So, what are the potential issues of being, you're not like a full pushing alliance where you're, hey, all the time, every time, let's get everything done. You're down there with it. You have some casual members in there. You're not all spending money. What are the issues that are arising with being an alliance leader?
So, of course, before, like, it was always that comment that everyone would make, that being an alliance leader was the thankless job that no one ever wants, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like we we would have to organize stuff to get, say, like I was saying, that on days we needed to push, we would get on Discord, tag people, make sure everyone done that stuff, could press forward, cool, great. So that now it's got to a point when rewards, leaderboards, season rewards, like everything, to do with alliance based stuff is where there's no incentive. So so beforehand it was a case of got to get everyone together, rally the troops, whatever, get the stuff done, and everyone, it was all a massive team effort. So and now it's kind of still the same, but this time the rewards, how the economy is like at the moment in terms of the gear ores we have, the T4s we have, just everything that were the main reason to push the leaderboards, the season rewards, all of that. Everyone's got that abundance now. And so when it comes to like, oh, you know what, let's try and get things done, I there's no major incentive for me to get people to come on and play the game. should we say. So because there's no incentive, it's now getting to a point when you're now getting that divide in the alliance of people, getting disgruntled because people aren't logging on, let's say, for war, not logging on for war to doing their attacks, and then the others are like, which I do agree, like, and I've always said, especially for war for a long time, the rewards suck. So me spending half an hour of my time to push Alliance War for when, if I lose, we're practically getting the same reward. So because that's been like that week after week, it's like, what is the point of, taking my time out of the day to really push to try and win this war when at the end of the day, the only thing we're losing out on is 450,000 gold. And that does, for how expensive things are for character wise, that does nothing. So that is the issue that's coming on. And because it's kind of brewing, it's honestly getting to the point, if things don't change in the next few months, I've just got a feeling, say, people are going to start leaving. And in my eyes, I'm like, there's no incentive to try and keep it all together, should we say, because I can't really make people come and play, should we say. So people are leaving, and then the Factor's job about trying to recruit, which everyone knows is an absolute ball ache. What is the point replacing these members? So just going to lose more and more members and get to the point, it's like, you know what, maybe you have to call it a day.
Okay, well, with that potential of losing players and stuff like that, which does happen, and then we get newer players in there, but they're not going to be anywhere near, the alliance mates that we have because they haven't been playing for long. What do you think? What options or process they think you should offer to go ahead and fix this, or give some type of solution to incentivize some players for playing more?
There's got to be, and don't get me wrong, because I know it was talked about in one of the strike times a month or so ago, is the rewards do need looking at and looking at quickly. Because like I said, it's going to get to a point, and I'm pretty sure I can hand on heart say that other alliances are probably feeling the same way. And all those sort of mid-tier, kind of casual, but because our alliance as well, we got some spenders and we got some free to play, but a lot of the spenders are now starting to become free to play because, like I said, the incentive is just not there really at the moment. So it's going to get to a point when a lot of alliances around my level, so like the top 1 to 2%, should we say, I'd be like, yeah, like I can't really get people I can't really hold people into my alliance or stay playing the game because there has to be an incentive to a degree to want to push content. And this new raid coming up, like, who knows what it's going to be like? Is it going to be like the chaotic raids, like 2.0, should we say? That as soon as you get the raid team, you can sim it and done. Like, it's just, there just needs to be either a new alliance milestone in terms of for rewards, like a unique rewards, or just something of a chase for the alliance to go after, for a reason to be active in the game. Because right now, how we're playing, we are doing the bare minimum, I'd say, and still getting that top end reward. But because people want activity, there are some disgruntled members, starting picking up a fuss because it's like, why am I doing all this and then these members aren't doing anything? So
Yeah,
that's all I can.
there would potentially be where more some of the alliance members do more than others, and you can't really make other alliance mates, hey, can you pick this up? And they're either gonna do it or they're not. And some of them you're just like, well, I want to kick them, but if I do it, I don't think I'm gonna be able to replace them
Yep,
because
that's
there's
the
no
part.
incentive to find somebody from a different alliance to come up because what are you really getting? Sure, the alliance rewards are about 12 million every 2 weeks, 12, 13, 14, however the long stock of it is. So you get some gold, you get some stuff for it. The other side is rage, you get gear, but not too much of that.
No.
Would it be if you were chasing a character in there and then you'd be like, well, we want to get more shards this week for this character so we can unlock them, or if you don't do it, I don't know, I guess we're losing out. um Also, I think it would benefit of having a milestone where it benefits the individual from doing something. And sure, when you do the alliance stuff, you get something out of it because you did something. And if we all don't, all 24 of us don't get to that point, we're all out of luck. At least you gives you something for going, well, I spent my time, trying to achieve this. You didn't because you didn't feel like it, but at least I got something for it. Instead of being like, well, we're not going to get nothing now because homeboy over here didn't want to go ahead and log in and just press a few buttons.
Yeah, I think chase is always something very important in any game. Any game I've played, there's always got to be that reason to push something or to revisit something, should we say? Because you want that end reward. You want that sort of like, oh, I managed to do all of this, and this is what I can show for it. Like, so I definitely think there needs to be some type of chase, but then also, to some degree, yes, I think there needs to be some penalizing of if people aren't doing a certain part, then they don't get that nice juicy reward. Like, so something that we kind of like theory crafted earlier would be something like, right, you have to do, so at the moment we've got 2 wars, so you get your 10 attacks as the set mark what you do each war. So something I'd be like saying, right, here's a milestone. You have to do 20 war attacks, and let's say roughly five raid attacks a day, maybe 6. Let's say so, 5 or 6, whatever. And so in this milestone, it's like, right, the requirement to unlock this reward: 20 war attacks and 30 raid attacks. Let's say. You've got to do that within that week, and if you complete this milestone, it unlocks this type of reward, and then you've got to. So I think, because people like to have a bit of control, so have this type of orb that be like, right, you can either choose: do you want the character shards, do you want resources, or do you want maybe, let's say, ISOs? So you got a choice of a certain reward to pick from. And once you unlock this orb, and it's a nice reasonable amount, so of course you've got to have the incentive to people to push for it. And at the end of the week, say you pick what you want. So then you're working on your roster still individually by also assisting the alliance. Something simple like that, and we've sort of thought about up within 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of issues with the Alliance's part, and you're not really like, you were up there, and then now it's slowly declining because you're seeing that people aren't really being incentivized to play more, or the game mode itself for Alliance isn't really like top notch. Oh my God, let's get into it. Raids now is just basically a sim button for top end players, which eventually gets boring because there's no reason for me to do it besides getting a few orbs for G20s, and I know they're bottlenecking it, but if there was something else in there, like even a sprinkle of gold or something like that, you'd start seeing a lot more people going, you know what? Let me go ahead and play a little more so we get like this amount of gold over these 2 weeks, or this amount of training match for this 2 weeks, so that way I got it for the next character that's coming, because those are the 2 big bottlenecks within the game, is gold or training match. They're trying not to put too much anywhere, but I feel like the cost of a character getting to 105 has just insanely gone up, where they're trying to give you some gold, but then they're like, nah, we're good, you're gonna have to resource management everything or buy gold, and that would be it. I think the better answer would be, you should still give out a bunch, but it should be my decision, or even my like thought of coming up with it. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy gold just so I can push this guy. I don't want it to be I have to buy gold if I want to get him, if I want to get this character built. It should be more on the player side, and that's more fluid and easier to accept because I made that choice. Scopely's not making me make that choice, and you know, that type of spending feels 10 times better than Scopely going, well, if you really want this, you're going to have to spend for it. If not, well, tough luck.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yes, like we always say, we know the game is a business. You have to make money. But sometimes when you either restrict something way too much or the value of what you're buying isn't worth the squeeze, then to me, and I know a lot of other people as well, just get put off spending completely. Like, what is the point of spending? Like, so I'm not getting much value for buying this. So all it does in turn is stops people spending, get more further behind, and then you're like, you know what? I'm not getting resources through gameplay. I'm not getting resources through my own money. So what's the point of me playing it anymore? You know? And this is why I'm saying that if rewards and incentives aren't really coming around moving forward, so now we've got a game that you're simming everything and there's no rewards for actually getting it from simming everything as well, then people are going to start dropping off. And then people, like I said, around my level, how my alliance is running, and in terms of where we are on leaderboards and what rewards we're getting, which is the top end stuff, people are going to start leaving, and then alliances are going to start breaking, and then people will be like, you know what, I can't be bothered to move alliance anymore. I'm going to quit as well. So it's something that it's starting to happen, especially from who I've been talking to and what people have been saying, especially in my alliance, should we say, and in the other streams. But yeah, moving forward, if they don't change something drastically, then I think it is going to start causing issue long term.
Well, I want to thank JPT for coming on and venting about how much fun it is to be an alliance leader. It just sounds so amazing. I just can't believe how super excited you are just to keep going with this alliance and be like, yeah, it's a good job every day. I guess it's rewarding. Obviously not. Obviously not.
The simplest way to put it, the first few years of this game, being alliance leader was not rewarding, or it was the thankless job, should we say. But in terms of what we were pushing for, had somewhat a reward. But of course, it was still difficult to get 24 players on board. Now, this last year, about a year or so of the game, the incentive is just not there at all. So you've got the first half of what I just talked about just now, and now zero incentive. So now it's a double negative, and I'm at a point like, okay, like how can I go about this in terms of keeping alliance together? So, yeah, it's been quite a brainstorm, and it's kind of hard to be like, how do I approach this moving forward? Which, quite honestly, I don't know.
Well, if you guys got any comments on what we were talking about here, please leave them in the comment section below. We'd love to get your feedback so we can send back to Scopely and tell them, hey, fix this somehow. Make it more rewarding for her, because the current rewards all over the place, whether it's, war, which is just a bit of gold that could barely get a character up to what, like level 85, maybe level 95, and that's it. And that's over 2 weeks. But we get more characters, and we're getting another character too, so you're getting more characters. Then you want to build them up to 7 stars, which requires even more gold. So there's all kinds of issues with this. We want to just make sure we get the points out there, and get your point out there too. So, but I want to thank JPT for jumping on and enjoying. I've enjoyed the rant, definitely, definitely. But
it's needed.
Definitely needed, because hey, it's hard out there being alliance leader, ain't it? Shoot, really hard. So
very. And I've been it for 5 years now, 4 or 5 years.
That just sounds atrocious. No, I don't know how they do it, but hey, we thank you guys for being alliance leaders and putting up with this. But Scopely, it's time to fix this. So I'm gonna thank JPT for jumping on, and DKG rolling out.